Nod-Krai. For a new region, it looks rather familiar, don't you think? It almost feels like we've been here before. That's true, in a sense. If we slow ourselves down in order to see every detail, we traverse the desecrated landscapes of shattered lands such as Enkonomiya, the Chasm, and Tsurumi Island. We've experienced fog so dense it's blurred the lines between solid and diaphanous. We've uncovered buried lands only to discover insurmountable truths that ought not be forgotten. And here we are again, in a spiritual sister to those lands, surrounded by fog, mystery, and bioluminescence, ready to discover long-forgotten truths, this time about the moons we've yearned to learn about since the very start. Hello, amazing friends. This is Flovius, here to talk to you about the Genshin Impact 6.0 Song of the Welkin Moon preview trailer. Genshin's preview trailers are often fast, with multiple clips and mismatched audio spliced together to confuse us. I slowed the entire trailer down to 0.25% of its original speed. Let's see if we can discern while looking at the world through a slower lens what Genshin does not yet want us to know. We've met spirits such as these before. We've seen ruins such as these before, friends, on Tsurumi Island. And now comes the Abyss. Those gloom hands coming out of the dark, reaching for someone. And who is controlling them? In Honkai Impact 3rd, Venus was destroyed by the Abyss after the last known survivor, Vita, tried to use the Abyss to push back the Honkai Energy that was attacking the planet. Sa, an omnipotent being who now resides in the Sea of the Abyss, which is located inside the Sea of Quanta, is now attempting to destroy civilization after civilization in an attempt to find a new home for the people of Venus where they can be reanimated. Are these her hands? Is Sa the reason that Teyvat is being attacked? This blue power in Flynn's lantern, we've seen it before. It's Dainsleif's power. It's the power that Dainsleif possesses. From where did Dainsleif receive this power? Is it something inherent to Khaenri'ah? Or did he gain this power from his brother, a sinner of Khaenri'ah? Is that power, that sinner power in Flynn's lantern, propelled by an actual sinner? Are we looking at some fragment of one of the 5 sinners? We've also seen this power in the Chasm. We've seen it in the Lumen Spar. We've seen it in the inverted fountain that heals Dainsleif. It can't be the Kuvaka power from Nod-Krai. That power is amber. We don't know what this blue power is, but what we do know is that Dainsleif has it. Dainsleif has been previously healed by it, as have the Hilichurls. The infinity symbol in Enkonomiya has it. Kevin Kaslana from Honkai Impact 3rd has it, as does the Trailblazer from Honkai Star Rail. What is the connection of this blue power from the inverted fountain that heals Dainsleif? That same power offers Flynn the opportunity to fight against the Abyss. Flynn makes a comment about a view in the world through human eyes, indicating that he is not human. He is, perhaps, a long life species about which we do not know.
Hi, amazing friends. This is Flovius. I really don't like being on camera. I feel super nervous right now, but I've received some feedback recently that some of you think my voice is AI. It's not AI, friends. I'm just from New England, and we all sound ridiculous here. So, that's it. You guys are great. Thank you for all the support so far, and I'm gonna get off camera now.
Ad Astra Abyssask. Catherine is not here to welcome us to Nod-Krai. But the marionette is. The marionette who controls puppets, such as Catherine. We see Nasha Town, and we see in Nasha Town the colors of Honkai Energy, which means that Nasha Town is being powered by the same Honkai Energy that has destroyed countless civilizations in its attempt to befriend humanity. We also see that Nasha Town is much more advanced than some of the other regions with their technology. My Honkai captains will know that the more advanced a civilization is, the more likely they are to fall to the Honkai, because the Honkai attacks grow harder based on how much technology a civilization has. Nod-Krai has been marketed as having the biggest conflict of any nation so far. And perhaps it isn't a nation in the traditional sense, where it has its own archon, or has its own ruler, but it is a nation on its own. This conglomerate of tribes comes together to form a society. A society who worships the moon. This society is utilizing the Honkai energy to power their machines, propel their vehicles. And because they are leaning on this technology, they are facing Teyvat's greatest threat so far. That aligns with what happens to Earth in Honkai Impact 3rd. All of those civilizations who learn how to utilize the Honkai, they also face the biggest threats. We're introduced to Nefer, a new Dendro character who is clearly from the desert portion of Sumeru. She's featured with a companion cat who bears a striking resemblance to a cat from Honkai Star Rail. The cat often seen with Kafka. A cat that accompanies Kafka and is often considered to be Elio, also known as Destiny's Slave. Also known as the one who speaks with the Aeon of Finality, the one who knows how the universe will end and restart, the one who knows exactly how things are going to play out. Maybe this cat isn't Elio, or maybe this cat will play a much bigger part than we could possibly believe at the moment. For those unfamiliar with the Honkai, it is a sort of universal energy in a nutshell. Known around the universe is that more advanced a civilization is, the more they utilize Honkai energy, the more danger they face, and the more their civilization has a chance to fall and be destroyed due to that Honkai energy, due to Honkai-related natural disasters. If you look at the technological progression of each region in Teyvat, you'll see that Natlan was at war. Nod-Krai is facing imminent danger, both from the Fatui and a moon coming down and the Abyss right at their doorstep. You'll see that Nasha Town, Nod-Krai is utilizing that Honkai energy to power their advanced technologies. So the Honkai is present in Nod-Krai. And we return to Tsurumi Island. Only we don't. We're not in Tsurumi Island anymore, we're in Nod-Krai, but here are the same ghosts that we met back then. And we see these zombies that call themselves the Wild Hunt. Going back to Honkai Impact 3rd, humans who got too close to Honkai energy could be corrupted by it and become mindless zombies. An angel-looking creature races about in the same way that we travel through Enkanomiya. Again, witness to a lighthouse that resembles both the Dainichi Mikoshi in Enkanomiya and the Trailblazer's path symbol. The lighthouse, the tower, the one that guides us home. Once again, just as I mentioned in my video, the top 10 4 stars to bring with you to Nod-Krai, I do believe that older units will be front and center, especially Sumeru characters. The characters that have come out thus far, the kits that have come out thus far, the weapons that have come out thus far that are so heavy in elemental mastery and energy recharge all scream of supports. So I think what's lining up in Nod-Krai is supports for older Sumerian units to help them achieve the power that they never achieved back when Sumeru was fresh. Lauma from the Scions of the Frost Moon looks strikingly similar to Don Hung, the Imbibitor Lunae. Imbibitor Lunae meaning moon drinker. Flynn's dispels a Honkai zombie in front of the Trailblaze Tower. This tower also looks similar to the Dainichi Mikoshi once it is lit up. And here he is using that same Gainsleaf blue energy, the energy that's similar to the energy used in Honkai Impact 3rd by Kevin Kaslana. Kevin Kaslana being an iteration of Kiana Kaslana, who is also the persona of the Void Hersher, who was used to inspire the Shade of Space. Kevin Kaslana is also featured as Phainon in Honkai Star Rail, another iteration of him, once again becoming a deliverer. If you've read the book Before Sun and Moon, you'll be familiar with the fact that the primordial one is also known as Phanes, an iteration of Phainon. Scattered across Nod-Krai are symbols that look strikingly similar to Cyrene's ceremonial moon scepter. Given the proximity with which Honkai Star Rail has released Amphoreus and now Nod-Krai with all of these moon details, I do not think that this is any kind of coincidence. They're doing this on purpose. We're in Nod-Krai. We see zombies, the wild hunt. But they might be something more. They look like Honkai zombies to me. In the game Honkai Impact 3rd, humans who get too close to Honkai Energy can be turned into mindless zombies, such as what we see here. I don't think we're looking at the wild hunt so much as we're looking at renamed Honkai zombies. The people of this world needed a name for what they saw, and they chose Wild Hunt. We see the same kind of ruins in the underground world of the chasm with the inverted city, which I think is a city that fell from the moon when it shattered. It shattered and fell and landed upside down in the chasm when it crashed into it. We've already read in Teyvat's stories that the moon chariot crashed into the chasm. Why wouldn't pieces of the moon follow? We see Gainsleaf healed by the water in the chasm. We see Gainsleaf feel better. We see the Hilichurls feel better, and they feel better because it's moon water. The moons were always designed to combat the abyss, to dispel the abyss, so that water would heal them. That water would make them feel better. And now that water, that power, that blue energy is powering Flynn's lantern, the lantern that dispels the abyss. The lantern resembles the Trailblaze signal. The ruins in the chasm fell from the moon. The moon holds the power to nullify the abyss, the power to heal, to help Gainsleaf and the Hilichurls feel better, to help Flynn's with his lantern that dispels the zombies. Columbina. Before Genshin Impact, before Honkai Impact 3rd, before Honkai Gakuen 2, before any of the flagship games in the Hoyoverse series, there was the original game two developers came up with while they were in university called Fly Me to the Moon. It was about a protagonist who was trying to get back to the moon no matter what, and in many ways Columbina resembles that protagonist. The moon we see while staring at Columbina is not the moon in Teyvat's sky, and it isn't this moon either. It could be the moon we see here in Honkai Impact 3rd, the one that has a statue knocked over to its side, one that looks strikingly similar to the Shade of Space, Asmodee. It could be this one here, from Honkai Star Rail, the one that is literally seeping abyss out of it. And what do we know happened to the two moons in Teyvat? They were destroyed by the abyss. What do we know about this scene? Only that it is strikingly similar to the scene in which we find Columbina in the trailer. Columbina, goddess of the new moon, also has a contract out with the Tsaritsa. And we hear her in her trailer saying, I want to return to the moon that belongs to me. Well, she's in front of a moon, and clearly that's not the one that belongs to her because she wants to return to the one that belongs to her. So what moon does belong to her? And what does that contract stipulate? Does it stipulate the Fatui retrieving her from some locked location in Nod-Krai in which she's trapped and bringing her back to the moon that belongs to her? Are they actually committing evil deeds, or are they attempting to fulfill a contract? For those of you who are fellow trailblazers, I'd like you to think on something for a moment. Throw it out there. The moon chariot. We know that it crashed into the chasm, correct? So the chariot that propelled the 3 moon sisters across the sky crashed into a chasm not to be seen for a very long time, and the ruins where the chariot landed are referred to as the Nameless Ruins. These hands resemble something out of Tears of the Kingdom, and we know that Genshin Impact is highly influenced and a direct result of Breath of the Wild and its successor, Tears of the Kingdom. What do the hands tell you? What did they do in Tears of the Kingdom? They tried to bring the hero to the villain, right? They tried to bring Link to Ganon. So are these hands reaching out for Flynns, or are they reaching out for someone else, possibly the Traveler? We were introduced to the Samsara concept in Sumeru when the Sumeru region, or Sumeru City specifically, was placed into a samsara, a repeating dream that occurred over and over and over. Players of Honkai Impact 3rd will be familiar with the samsara because the Earth in Honkai Impact 3rd was locked in a 50,000-year samsara. And every time the Earth was destroyed, it reset and began anew. New weapon details indicate that we are once again trapped in a samsara, but this time it isn't just Sumeru City, it's all of Teyvat. Teyvat is in a samsara. When it brings itself to the point of destruction, it resets and we try again. Now the question I have for you is, has the Traveler always been a part of the samsara? Has their journey been repeatedly reset, or are they a new variable in this equation that could break us out? And the way they broke us out of samsara for good, will they break us out of this for good? Will the samsara in which we are trapped come into play in Nod-Krai? I believe it will. So, I've asked you a lot of questions, I've given you a lot of answers, but I haven't really told you yet, friends, what it is I'm trying to tell you with this video. I'm trying to tell you, number 1, the ruins in the chasm came from the moon when it crashed. The inverted fountain with the blue moon healing power came from the moon when it crashed. That is why we see all of the bioluminescent activity in the chasm. That is why we see the muck that is the abyss leaking throughout the chasm, because it was all part of a huge crash that happened a long time ago. I'm also trying to tell you that the chasm, Enkanomiya, Dainsleif, Flynns, Nod-Krai, Columbina, and the new moon are all linked. Number 3, I'm trying to tell you that these games in the Hoyoverse are connected. I know there will be some of you in the comments who are going to tell me all about the fact that it is Genshin Impact, not Honkai Impact. Come on, Flobius, get with the times. But here's the thing. The original name of Genshin Impact was Honkai Impact 4. The game was always meant to be a direct sequel to the Honkai series. They had to change the name to satisfy investors. It is a Honkai game. These hands that resemble something out of Tears of the Kingdom, we know that Genshin Impact is highly influenced by Breath of the Wild and its spiritual successor, Tears of the Kingdom. They're reaching out for the hero, for Flynns, for someone. But Flynns isn't the hero, we are. Once again, who's controlling those hands? Is it someone omnipotent like Sa? Or could it be someone as familiar as the Abyss sibling? Our brother, our sister. Are they trying to bring the Traveler back to his sibling? And that's the meat and potatoes, amazing friends. There are too many links to track. Ask questions, seek answers, debate with me in the comments. This is Flobius saying I am not AI. Play nice.